A few weeks ago, I made a Carolina-style pulled chicken and it turned out amazing. Well, today, I'm making a Carolina-style pulled pork on the Oklahoma Joe's Highland. So I've got about a 9.5 pound pork picnic shoulder roast here. We're just gonna call it a pork butt. And I'm gonna be turning it into a Carolina style pulled pork with some great Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce from my friend Scott over at the Real Show Barbecue. But first I gotta get this rubbed up, and today I'm gonna be using something that was sent to me. It's Flaps 20 Cowboy Rub. It's got a nice sweetness to it that I think will go really well with this. Let's get a nice coating on here. And I've trimmed this butt up a bit. Actually took off a little more fat than I normally would because I'm going to be using this pork in two different dishes for two different videos. This one where we're going to make some great sandwiches, and another one that you'll have to wait and see. This rub has a really nice smell too. It's got a good brown sugar base in it, and if you've watched my videos, you know that I love brown sugar and rubs. And again, no binder. If you've watched enough of my videos, you know I almost never use a binder. It's just personal preference. All right, this looks good to me. I'm happy with it. Let's get it out to the Oklahoma Joe's Highland and start smoking it. Okay, the Oklahoma Joe's Highland's coming up to temp. We're at 219 on the temperature probe that's at the grate level. I'm gonna be shooting for a temperature of 250 degrees today. 25 degrees either side of that's gonna be fine with me. So let's go ahead and get this pork butt on. Right about in the middle of the cook chamber is where I want it. I've got my internal meat temperature probe here, which has been resting on this foil. That keeps it clean, and it actually sterilizes it inside the cook chamber before you put it in the meat. Okay, so our bone is over on this side. So I want to get my probe in over here. Let's see what we're registering. 40 degrees on the internal meat probe, which means we've hit a good spot. This pork butt came out of the refrigerator about 20 minutes ago, so 40 is right about where it should be. So I have two water pans in the cook chamber today. One right down by the firebox side, and you can see it's already starting to boil. And the other one at the opposite end of the cook chamber nearest the smokestack. It'll keep just enough moisture in here, especially during the first part of this cook. I'm going to be taking this today to about 160 degrees before I wrap it. It'll depend on where it sort of starts to stall out at. I've seen it stall out in the 150s, lower 150s before, and then I've wrapped pork butts. But I'm going to be taking it to the approximate stall temperature, which is somewhere around 160. It'll vary. Then I'll be wrapping it and taking it the rest of the way to somewhere around 200 when we can pull it. All right, let's close this up and let's check our firebox. See how we're doing here. Right now I've got two little pieces of pecan and one piece of hickory in there. I'm going to be doing mostly pecan today, but we got a good fire going and good smoke, so we're just going to let it keep riding right now. I've got my damper fully open but the door closed, and I have my little portable fan pushing a little extra air into the firebox right now just as we're starting out. Want to make sure we got a good burn going. I'll probably end up turning that off in about 5 minutes. I'm going to be checking this in about an hour or two to see if I need to spritz it. There's a lot of moisture in that chamber, so I'm not sure that I'll need to do that right away, but I'll bring you back in a couple hours when we check on this. All right, we are 2 hours in. We've got an internal meat temperature of 114 and a pit temp of 293, so it's running a little hot. Perfect time here. We can check this and see if it needs to be spritzed and work on the vents if we need to. So let's take a look at this pork butt. Looking good here. Nice bark developing, but I am going to go ahead and spritz it because I can see it's a little dry right here. And what I'm using to spritz this is a 5-to-1 mixture of apple cider vinegar and water, 5 parts water, 1 part apple cider vinegar. All right, we're going to close it up, let it keep smoking, and I'll keep an eye on the temperature and adjust the vents as necessary. Okay, we are about 4 hours in. We've been at 158 internal for about 20 minutes. Actually, just hit 159, so we're close enough. I'm gonna pull it and wrap it. See how we're doing. Nice. color on that. All right, let's get the temperature probe out of here temporarily. I'm gonna try and remember where this probe was on this side over this way. All right, let's get this off. First thing I want to do here is I want to hit this with a little bit more of this rub. It's Flaps 20 Cowboy Rub. I want to give a little spritz in the foil here too. Put a little moisture in here. I'm just going to wrap this up. Tight there. Get the foil close to the meat. Let's get this back on and get our temperature probe in where we remember it. There we go. Let's see if we can get a good shot with our probe here. All right, that looks good. Let's get this closed up and check our firebox. I've got a piece of wood over on the side here that's been waiting. Let's get that in. Put another piece over here to heat up. Sometimes I'll move one small piece over here to the side while this one ignites and burns. It generally doesn't spread to that if you keep everything over to one side of the firebox, and that piece is then ready to go as soon as you move it over. That's why I like using these smaller splits. I cut them down to this size. All right, let's close this up. All right, we got good smoke. I'll bring you back when we get close to 200 degrees and we can probe it for tenderness. We're getting close to the time to probe this pork butt to see if it's tender, but what I want to do first is I've got a little sort of skillet thing sitting on top of the firebox on the pot warmer, getting it hot because I want to toast up some buns for these sandwiches I'm going to be making. Gonna throw a couple buns on here. Just want to get a little toast on them. See how we're doing here. Nice little toast. That's what I'm looking for. All right, these are good. All right, the internal meat temperature probe is showing 195. So let's start checking this to see how tender we are. Now I have to keep in mind that I'm going through a layer or two of foil here, but let's see how we're doing. Oh, that is butter right there. See over here, the bone is over here. I can feel the bone, but boy, it's sliding in. Wow. This is feeling very tender. Wow, okay. 7 hours. I was expecting it to take about 9, but it certainly feels tender. You know, maybe just a tiny bit of resistance right there. Okay, I'm gonna let it keep going. There's just a little bit of resistance right here, dead center. I'm gonna let it keep going. It's probably gonna be another half hour or so, but I'll watch the temperature. We're at 195 still. I think about 200, I'll probe it again. Might even be less than half an hour. We'll see. All right, it's been about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and we're at 202 degrees. So let's check this again. I'm gonna check for that part that I was feeling a little resistance in. Much easier, yes. All right, we are good. I'm gonna get this off, get it inside, so we can make some pulled pork. All right, it's time to open this up, see what it looks like, and turn it into some Carolina-style pulled pork. It's been resting for about 15 minutes. Oh, look at that. Nice. Nice bark on that. Let's see how well the bone decides to, well, there's part of the bone coming out very easily. You can see that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this into a pan so we can start pulling it. So let's see what we've got in here. Oh, nice, yes. Oh, and there's the bone. That came out fairly clean. Just gonna get in here and start pulling this apart. Nice and hot still. I have little glove insulators inside these nitrile gloves. Super juicy. A lot of nice bark there. I mean, just look at that, that's beautiful. I've got the little bear claw things I could use, but sometimes it's fun just getting in here with your hands and ripping things to shreds. I gotta take a little taste with that bark on it. Ooh, that was good. That was really good. I like that rub. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finish shredding this up, and then we'll get to mixing in our Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce. So here's the amount of pork that I'm gonna be using for sandwiches tonight. It's time to dress this up with that Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce that I just love. First though, I'm actually gonna hit it with a little bit more of this Flaps 20 Cowboy Rub. I really like this stuff. They're not paying me to say this. They were just nice enough to send me this and another bottle of rub and a bottle of sauce to try. And they're good. But here is the magic. I'm gonna get a good amount of this sauce in there. And mix this all up. If you haven't seen my Carolina style pulled chicken video, I'll put a link to it up over here. It's the first time I used this sauce, made by my friend Scott in North Carolina. Oh, it is just awesome stuff. You can go over and check out his channel, The Real Show Barbecue. I'll put a link in the description. Does some good barbecue videos. I'm gonna take a quick little taste here before I make the sandwich. Oh man. Wow. That's as good, if not better, on pork than it was on chicken. All right, time to make some sandwiches. So I've semi-pre-assembled a couple of these sandwiches. I just put some of the pulled pork on those toasted buns, but I want to do two things. I want to hit it with a little bit more of that rub and some more of that sauce. So just a little dash of rub on there and some sauce. I know it's going to get sloppy. I don't care. It's worth it. This sauce is worth a little mess. Top it off, and we are ready to taste. Here's one of my pulled pork sandwiches. Now, I could have fancied this up. I could have put coleslaw on it. I could have put a lot of different things on it. Pickles, anything I wanted. I want to taste this. I want to taste the pork and that barbecue sauce. A toasted bun is all I need for this. If I make more later, I can put anything I want on them. But right now, this is it. And here I go. I said when I made the pulled chicken using the same sauce that it was among my favorite barbecue sauces I'd ever tasted. This reinforces that. This is an incredibly good sauce. Oh man, that nice bright vinegary flavor with those spices in there, a little bit of heat. I just love sauces like this. I love homemade sauces that people really put their passion into. I have made vinegar-based sauces before. I've never come close to this sort of taste. And I do like using the shoulder roast for pork. With that bone in there, you get a lot of extra flavor. You may get a little less tenderness at a lower temperature, but you take it to enough, and we ended up about 202, 203 today, probe tender, just like butter, falling apart, juicy moist, and I gotta tell you, with that bone in there, I think it adds flavor. For pulled pork, when I sauce it, I'm usually a traditional barbecue sauce kind of guy. The tomato-based sauces. This is enough to convert me, I think. This is such a great combination of that rub and this barbecue sauce. Oh, man. Again, no one's paying me to say anything about that rub or that sauce. They were nice enough to send me that rub to try, and I bought this sauce from Scott. In fact, it was supposed to be here 2 days ago, got misdelivered, finally got here last night, and I was so happy because I was planning to do this, and I wanted that sauce to do this pulled pork. Oh. So the pork today cooked in a little over 7 hours, which I was a little bit surprised. Usually for that size, when I've done them at that temperature, it's been closer to 9 hours. So, as I've said, every piece of meat that you cook is different. Why that one cooked a little quicker, I don't know. I'm happy it did. Get to taste a little earlier. Oh. So if you're looking to make some pulled pork, and you want to do it Carolina style, get some Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce if you can find some at the store anywhere. Put it on there. You'll have a killer sandwich.